Good evening. Welcome to Beaches Watch, our monthly meeting. This is our annual meeting, so we have a couple of business issues to take care of before we introduce our Give Back Donation awardee. So for those of you who do not know what Beaches Watch is and what we do, we are a citizens membership organization open to all beaches residents. We're nonpartisan. We focus on educating and informing our beaches citizens so that they know how to make informed decisions. They can contact their elected officials. We can try to keep them apprised of issues that are affecting our quality of life. So that you guys can make informed decisions when you're talking to your elected officials. We also hold these monthly meetings. Generally, they're held the first Wednesday of every month. The exception is in January because of New Year's, so that will be the second Wednesday. But there, we try to choose topics that are obviously germane to our beaches' quality of life. Next month, we're actually going to have the St. John's Riverkeeper. They'll host a forum on sea level rise. So it'll be a panel discussion, so that will be very interesting. They've been holding these town hall forums throughout the city for the past year. Also, if you're not a member of Beaches Watch, we encourage you to join tonight. You will be then placed in the drawing for a special prize. We're celebrating our 15th anniversary next year. So at our member social, which is held in April, you'll be eligible to win a 15th anniversary special gift basket. Eileen Krinsky is at our table. She'll be glad to take your money. It's only $15 for individuals, $20 for family, and $5 for students. So very affordable. The membership runs from January to December. Our membership supports many of the initiatives that we do for the citizens here at the beaches. For instance, it provides support for this annual Give Back donation that we will be awarding tonight. We also award Friends of the Beaches Award. That's done at our social. We've also established a scholarship award for the seniors at Fletcher High School. They have to write an essay and then judged, and then we award their scholarship to the winning senior. And then, of course, we hold our member guest social each year. That includes lots of raffle prizes, free drinks, bar, and just a lot of fun. Usually, we find local musical entertainment. We've been fortunate to have some of the young musicians from Fletcher High School provide the entertainment, and it's been a huge success. We'd like to recognize our elected officials, and tonight I'm very proud to recognize Sandy Golding, who just recently installed as one of the newest City of Jacksonville Beach City Council members. So congratulations, Sandy.
Thank you.
Okay, so since this is our annual meeting, what we are now going to do is we're going to actually elect 3 positions on our board. The first position is for president, and I'm nominated for that position, which is kind of strange, but I'm nominated for that position. We also have our treasurer position, which is currently held by Beth Lightsey, and she has agreed to continue another term. And we also have our board member position / membership director, who is held currently by Eileen Krinsky, and she has also agreed to continue her term. But we are open to take nominations from the floor from any members of Beaches Watch that I'll be glad to entertain at this point in time. Anyone? Okay. No nominations being made from the floor. Can I get a motion to go ahead and approve the nominations for the board? So moved. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second, thank you. Any discussion? Okay, no discussion. This is very easy. This is great. So, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion passes, so thank you very much. I'm honored to now step in as president for Beaches Watch. And Beth Knightsey will continue on as our treasurer, and Eileen Krimsky will continue on as our board member / membership director. So thank you, and thank you for your service. So, on to the exciting part here too. So this year, I'm very honored to announce our 2018 Give Back Donation awardee. They are most deserved of this recognition because as a former Beaches Sea Turtle Patrol person, volunteer, I know kind of what you guys do, and you're very dedicated and have been dedicated for a very long time. Kevin Brown nominated the Beaches Sea Turtle Patrol because of this long-standing organization and the great things that they do. This was started in the early 70s by Morton and Jan Hansen, who, yes, still around. And it's currently comprised of about 40 volunteers who monitor nesting sea turtles every morning. I'm not kidding, it's every morning, typically before the sun rises. They're out on the beach, just from April 15th until October 31st. So that's a pretty big margin of dedication. They also rescue and transport stranded hatchlings that have been injured. They transport them as far as Whitney Labs, which is down in St. Augustine, or north to Jekyll Island, which they both have the sea turtle hospitals. And they do this on their own time, and they do this at their own expense. So the Beaches Sea Turtle Patrol, they don't get any local, state, or federal financial support, and they rely strictly on just donations from citizens in the community. So, to learn more about the Beaches Sea Turtle Patrol, I would like to introduce Jennifer Burns, who will tell us a little bit more about what the Beaches Sea Turtle Patrol does and how they will hopefully be able to use this donation. Jennifer?
Hello everybody, and good evening. Thank you so much for this award. Probably going to repeat a little bit what Maria just said. I'm sorry, okay. Probably repeat a little bit what Maria just said, so I don't want to read anything else, so bear with me as I read my notes. Trusty glasses. I'm president and FWC Marine Turtle permit holder for Beaches Sea Turtle Patrol since 2007. I'm very honored to accept this award on behalf of the patrol. It's especially meaningful coming from a group of local citizens like yourselves. BSTP has a long history in our community, originating in the 1980s when the Greenpeace organization managed the monitoring efforts in coordination with Beaches residents. The BSTP organization was born when Greenpeace turned over the responsibility to the local volunteers. It was then, and always will be, a 100% volunteer operation. In 1991, our founders created the 501c3 that formed the patrol as it exists today. But back then, there was virtually no foot patrol team, and the monitoring area included Mayport Naval Station, Hanna Park, and North Ponte Vedra, in addition to Atlantic, Neptune, and Jack's Beach. The entire area was covered on an old three-wheel ATV left by Greenpeace, which I'm told caught on fire at least once. After more than 30 years, thousands of hours of backbreaking work, and tens of thousands of sea turtle hatchlings, our original turtlers are still involved to this day. Please join me in thanking our founders, Morton Jan Hansen, for their extraordinary dedication and commitment to sea turtle conservation. The STP has evolved substantially since then. The other areas we covered eventually branched off under their own FWC permits. We have expanded our foot patrol team from just a few casual walkers to a group of nearly 40 trained volunteers. That has enabled us to form sub-teams to do more community outreach events, take additional measures to protect the nesting habitat, such as the beach access signage project that was implemented this year, and we have mock-ups of our signs there that they're at every single beach access where there's room for it throughout each of the 3 cities. We were also able to expand our beach cleanups from the annual 5th of July event that we started in the 1980s. All of that did not happen overnight. It took years of almost having to beg for volunteers because not many people were willing to make the required commitment to training in 3-mile pre-dawn treks on the beach in all kinds of weather for a creature that is not accessible, cute, or fuzzy. To be sure, it's not a commitment to be taken lightly. Each new volunteer must go through an application process and attend training sessions before patrolling independently. They also must attend ongoing training throughout their volunteer tenure. I'm happy to say that interest in volunteering with BSTP has increased dramatically, and today we have an abundance of applications. So what are we actually doing out there every day during nesting season? From May through October, we are on the beach by sunrise to look for evidence of new nests, monitor existing ones, and check for stranded turtles and wayward hatchlings. When a new nest is discovered, it is thoroughly documented for FWC and marked off for protection. Predator controls are added if needed, and required signage is posted stating the state and federal turtle protections. Existing nests are checked for signs of disturbances and are reinforced as needed. They are monitored for hatchling activity so we can take the appropriate action in case of disorientation caused by artificial lighting. 3 days after a nest has emerged, we conduct an inventory of the contents, and the data is provided to FWC. Our light monitoring team checks for potential problems from artificial lights and distributes educational literature to beachfront residents and businesses. And Mary here in the front row heads up that team right now, and she also heads up our outreach team at the moment, and if you have any questions afterward, she or any of us will be happy to answer them. Mary and the outreach team sets up occasional educational exhibits at community events like Dancing in the Street, and they conduct presentations for students and civic groups throughout the year. We have distributed nearly 25,000 sea turtle activity booklets since 2006. Our beach pit team, headed by Kevin, responds to reports of large craters left by beachgoers. This was in response to a nesting turtle that nearly died when she fell into one at Jacksonville Beach in 2015. In addition to the field work and outreach, there are numerous administrative tasks that keep the patrol running all year long. Bookkeeping, volunteer support, FWC reports, monitoring the emergency phone line 365 days a year, maintaining supplies, FWC reports, vehicle maintenance, donor communications, and did I mention FWC reports? There's a lot. All of these activities, and more that I didn't mention, are conducted by our dedicated team of volunteers. And many of them are here tonight wearing shirts similar to mine. So please let everybody see you so they can say hi on the beach or whatever. Thanks. So now that you know who BSTP is and what we do, you may be wondering about the why. Sea turtles, after all, have been around for millions of years. So why do they need our help now? Simply stated, human activities are the greatest threat to their survival. We encroach on and sometimes destroy their nesting habitat and pollute where they live. The only place turtles can lay their eggs is on a sandy beach. The only place they can live is in the ocean. Biologists estimate that only 1 in 1,000 hatchlings will survive to reproductive age, which takes 15 years or more to reach. Turtles have been hunted for their meat, and their shells have been made into ornamental trinkets for the tourist trade. Their eggs have been poached from their nests. Some become incidental bycatch in shrimp nests and longline fisheries. Plastics are ingested in large quantities, not just by turtles, but by all marine life, including many of the fish that we consume. There was just a study published today. I have a link on our Facebook page about microplastics. They did a study of 102 turtles in 3 oceans, and every single one of them had a certain level of microplastics in their digestive system. I haven't been able to read the whole report yet, but it's pretty sobering what I've seen so far. The turtles are also affected by climate change in several ways. The gender of the hatchlings is determined by the temperature of the sand as the nest incubates. Stronger hurricanes can wipe out their nests and destroy their nesting grounds, and higher water temperatures are attributed to the spread of fibropapilloma tumors. I must even get that out. Fibropapilloma tumors in green turtles. Some people may wonder why we should even care about what happens to them. Sea turtles contribute to a healthy ecosystem that benefits humans. Their hatched eggshells, undeveloped eggs, and deceased hatchlings are good sources of nutrients for vegetation which fills the dunes that protect our homes and businesses. Green turtles eat seagrass, which needs to stay short in order to be healthy. The seagrass beds provide breeding and developmental grounds for fish, shellfish, and crustaceans that we consume. Leatherbacks help to keep the fish population by eating jellyfish, which consumes fish larvae. Kemp's Release consume marine sponges, which can overtake the coral reefs if left unchecked. You don't have to be an official BSTP volunteer to help conserve turtles. Small daily changes made by everyday people can have a big impact. Reduce your usage of single-use plastic items, fill in holes, knock down sandcastles, and remove items from the beach overnight during nesting season. Do not release balloons, do not eliminate nesting beaches, participate in beach cleanups like Beaches Watch is already doing. I know you are helping a lot with that. Consider purchasing a sea turtle specialty tag for your vehicle. So conserving turtles is good for them, it's good for the environment, and therefore good for us, plus it is just the right thing to do. So on behalf of the STP, I thank you all for your support of our efforts and this wonderful award. Thank you.
Okay, so now for the presentation. So we'd like for all of the beaches, Sea Turtle Patrol volunteers to come up front here. Our board members are here as well for a photo op. And I will be glad to present you with the big check.
Ceremonial check.
Ceremonial check. Oh, look at that. Wow. Yeah, it's a big deposit. So, board members, Sally?
It's on it.
You're going to do it? Yes.
See, she got it. She got it.
It's gonna make them all look good. All right, I cannot see the gentleman in the yellow. Scoot a little bit. Oops. Now I can't see. If you can't see me, I can't see you. Ready? 1, 2, 3, smile. Oh, I took about 6.
Oh, our treasurer, newly elected or re-elected, is not going to get the checkbook, so. Checks in the mail.
This trivia director has short things.
That's right. That's okay. Yes. So this Beaches Sea Turtle Patrol, you've heard, they really do a lot. They have that dedicated staff of volunteers, and as I said, as a volunteer many years ago, I know that it takes a lot. I mean, it takes dedication to get up before the sun rises and walk this 3 miles. Kevin, would you like to say something as the nominee?
One of the things these guys know, but I'm a marine science teacher at Fletcher, and one of the really cool things being in this is we're educating a lot of youth. So, you know, adults are pretty, well, sometimes they're good. But a lot of the young adults are the ones that are kind of abusive on the beach with the holes and the plastics and things. And I've had several situations where, you know, I teach my kids to go up to adults and say, "May I have a minute of your time?" And usually that gets them a minute, and they go through the education process of how to maintain the beach. So one of the very exciting things about being a part of this organization is that I can take the stuff that I learned back to the classroom. And it's thrilling to see a senior who has, you know, the maturity and everything, to tell somebody to stay off the dune and educate them, to explain to them why holes. And now Jen mentioned microplastics. I just got back from a seminar, and you know, I always get this question: why do we save the manatees? Why do we save the turtles? Why is that even important to us? And as a generation that we're not going to have to deal with it. We're all going to be gone, okay? But your kids and my 2 granddaughters are going to have to deal with this. And there is nothing more sobering, is a good word, than when you see them do a necropsy. And a necropsy is an autopsy of an animal. And they pull out a handful of these little chips of plastics in birds and manatees and turtles. So we're using too much plastic. And, you know, being a child of the 60s, we were using too many tin cans at the time. And we were using, you know, we've all seen the process go. So I would like all the general public, you guys already know, that one of my main goals is to educate our youth and get this going to the youth. So, you know, when I evaluate a nest, I usually have about 10 or 12 students there, and they get to see that process go through. And they also get to see the process of how data sells progress. So if we didn't have data to give to FWC, FWC doesn't have the data to go lobby. And that's real important. So I want everybody to understand, these are the people that collect the data. And that's real. We collect the data, we go out, we give it to FWC, and they can sell it. One of the things I always try to teach my kids is if you got a passion, you got to sell it. And the only way you can sell it is with numbers. And so I want y'all to understand, we are reaching out not only to the community, but we're reaching out to our youth, and we're trying to establish this for the next generation. And I'm going to tell you now, Morton, Jan, y'all should be proud of that, because we're kind of another generation. And so those guys started it with them. So this is a huge outreach program, and we're going to use that money wisely.
And I just want to add that there is a wonderful display of all of the trash that goes in the ocean down at the lifeguard shared. It's on the east side of First, and it is pretty incredible. So
The
if you
jellyfish
haven't
park?
gone, go.
The jellyfish park?
Yeah, with all
It
of
was on television tonight on the news
Oh, was it?
with photos of it.
Oh, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, so our mantra should be, instead of just recycle, it should be reduce, reuse, recycle. Recycle is really the last, should be the last thing on what we're doing. And you know, I think that you know, the movement is really going more towards that. It's about, you know, reducing that single-use plastic and learning how to reuse what we have and then reduce and recycle. And speaking of recycling, though, I have to say on if you picked up one of our agendas, which I hope you did, because it does have information about what's coming up, but there's a relatively new organization here at the beach called Beaches Go Green, and they've just been doing some remarkable, just outstanding work as far as education, outreach, beach cleanups, that sort of thing. So they have on their website, and it's on the agenda, a survey, a recycling survey. And so they're just collecting information right now to try and understand you know, the residents here, our commitment to the environment, our commitment to recycling. And so as a Beaches Watch organization, that is a program that we want to bring for one of our monthly meetings, is about recycling, because there's a lot of misconceptions about it. There's a lot of things that, you know, we just don't know. And a lot of it's very surprising. And, you know, probably about, I would almost say 70% of what we are thinking is being recycled is not being recycled. It's actually ending up in the landfill. And so it's really about education. It's really about what, you know, what the recycling business and industry is doing. So, so that should be coming up probably in the spring. We're looking at, I think, the March meeting to try and bring that as we start our spring cleaning and throwing stuff away and trying to hopefully give you options with other organizations that are really doing this eco-recycling, especially for our electronics and for some of our bigger items that we, other than the hazardous. I know we have our hazardous waste pickup that the cities do, but this is something, you know, that you can do individually as a citizen. So, so look for that. But If you have a second, go to Beaches Go Green website. The survey is very short, but hopefully they're just kind of gathering some information and data for that. So that pretty much wraps up our meeting. We, again, are very excited that the Beaches Sea Turtle Patrol was the recipient this year, well-deserved, and I know you guys will be able to use the donation to continue your good work, so. Oh, yes.
Being that we just wrapped up the season, did you guys track how many nests we had this year and any kind of data?
Yeah.
We have,
Can you go to the front?
we have 44 nests this year in total, which is down from last year, but we had 2 leatherbacks and 1 green turtle, and the rest were loggerheads of that 44.
And in the scope of like 5 or 10 years, what does that number look like? 44?
It just really fluctuates.
Okay.
Our highest nesting that we've had on the 3 beaches was in 2012. We broke 100. We had 105 nests that year. So we're usually around 60, 70. Hopefully we see it climb, trend-wise. Maybe not every year, but trending.
So when you guys identify a nest, then you can sort of calculate the gestation period before they hatch. Are you guys there to monitor them when they?
No, the FWC really promotes as most natural emergence as possible, which means no people, no lights, no things in their way. We do have a general idea of when they may emerge, but there's a lot of factors that come into play in actual incubation time, which is the species, the time of the year that it's laid, where on the beach it's laid, the environmental conditions during the incubation. All that has an impact on how long it takes.
Thanks.
Any other questions or comments? I do want to recognize Janelle Wilson. She came in a little late. She has served on the Jacks Beach City Council, has turned out. And so I want to thank her for her service to Jacksonville Beach and to the beaches community. So thank you, Janelle. Okay, so anything else? Comments? Questions?
Can you mention the upcoming meetings?
Yes, so again, just to reiterate, so January we will have Lisa Reineman, who is our river keeper. She'll be facilitating a panel of experts talking about sea level rise and hopefully mitigation of that and what we can do here at the beaches. Our February meeting will be our State of the Beaches meeting, which is where we will hear from all 3 mayors on what is going on with each community, and that's typically well attended, so I would encourage you to get there early. And then March, again, we are looking to do this recycling meeting, so that should probably be well attended as well. Anything else?
Yeah, you might want to mention the contact information.
Oh, yes, sorry. We had a little glitch with our printer. So the contact information, which is on the back of the agenda of our elected officials, somehow they got an older list, so kind of ignore that. Yeah, 'cause it is outdated. But if you go on the city, on each of the Beaches City websites, they have all of the current information. But typically we have that on there. So.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Darren Mason, candidate for City Council at Large Group 2. I'm a runner for City Council because I believe that every citizen in Duval County deserves a decent quality of life, regardless of your zip code, of your side of the track or side of the ditch. That you should be able to feel safe and that you should feel proud. And I'm here to set the tone. And I will be around if anybody would like to learn more about my platform. But thank you for this opportunity. And you could visit darrenforjobs.com and you'll find more about why I want to serve as your next city council member at large.
Thank you. Thank you for introducing yourself. And that does remind me that we will be holding candidate forums. So we have a busy spring coming up because I think there are 4 or 5 at-large seats open, 5, plus our District 13. If right now Rory Diamond is the only named candidate, but we'll see if he is opposed. So be on the lookout for that as well. Check our website regularly. We try to keep that updated. The video from tonight's meeting will also be there, as well as our past meetings. So if you happen to miss something or you want to listen to it again, the video will be available. And that's the video from tonight will be on there tomorrow. So, and I should also recognize George Forbes, who is our retired, longtime city manager of Jax Beach, and so he's enjoying life. I stopped using the word retire. I just say reformat.
Say America.
Yeah,
Emeritus.
You're reformatting. You're not really retiring. But thank you again for coming tonight. And then as I wrap up the meeting, as I say, if you are able to pick up your chair and stack them on the risers, that would be a big help for us. So thank you.